Hey everybody, I'm going to show you how to analyze the HEX market. Let's open up a browser and go to uniswap.hex.vision. And this is the chart of HEX, the price. Now, since the most liquid pair that has about $12 or $13 million liquidity in it right now is on hexdex.win, which I'll show you now, we can put the number 1 here and see the price, and we can also see the USDC price. And if we want to add some zeros, we can see the price a little better, with more resolution. And we can swap it back and forth, and you can see that there's 0.6% between the two. That's the fees that liquidity providers make. So this uses bandwidth if you leave it open, so let's close it. This defaults to the 4-hour when you first go to it. The daily is nice to look at. So as we can see, if we click this magnet and we click this measurement tool and we make price and date a favorite and we click it, then we can grab a bottom and we can drag it to a top, and that will show us our move. Now this is the profit. This is not the X. So the X is always 100% more. So since this is 4,132%, it's really 4,232% X. So, you know, if you buy something for $1 and you sell it for $2, you have 2x your money, but you've only made $1, which is a 1x, right? So that's the difference between profit and X. So if you like to quote big numbers, it's nice to quote the X, which is 100% higher. Now if we go up top left here, we can choose HEX USDC, which is calculated, and we're going to get more X, because while HEX was going up versus Ethereum, Ethereum was also going up versus the dollar, and that's why we end up with a 56X, which rounds to a 57X. Now you could zoom in, you could drag this, you could use your mouse wheel, scroll in, make sure that you really got a bottom there, which you can see we got the bottom of the wick. Then you can just click auto and make everything kind of, see this will bring you back to the beginning. You can zoom out. Now this is not a logarithmic chart. I think that it's much prettier and easier to chart in log format, because this would feel like a lot of sideways to you, but it sure didn't feel like that when we were there. And so if you click log, you can be like, oh yes, this is what it felt like. The chart more accurately corresponds to the emotions. It's also, you know, if you're looking at something that goes up this type of percent, the log scale just makes sense. So now what cool things can we do? So we've learned how to draw a time and measurement tool to get a percentage. We've learned how to use the magnet to make it lock on to certain parts. We know how to switch from USDC to the ETH pair. Now here's volume. Now because we're on the USDC pair, it's going to measure this in USDC, which is equivalent to dollars, basically. It's Coinbase's stable coin. And we can see that the volume really shot up here. So this single candle was, 4 million. This candle was 4.5 million, 4 million. And here's the beautiful part. These are the realest, most transparent trades in all of cryptocurrency, by far. So you can take every single one of these trades and look at who did it, who did the trade. So let's do that right now. Let's go to uniswap.info and let's look at some recent trades and see who might have been performing them. Wait for that to load. Let's click HEX. We'll let it load so that you can see the comparison to other coins. $3 million of volume, $12 million of liquidity. Now look at USDC. USDC is one of the largest, most popular stable coins, and Coinbase themselves put an extra $1 million liquidity directly into this pool. And look at how pitiful it is compared to HEX. HEX is the most liquid coin on distributed exchange, except for Ethereum itself, and maybe some other stable coins on another platform. So if we click HEX, we can see here every trade that's occurred recently, 130 pages worth. So we can sort this, even though it doesn't show you that you can. Let's look at the largest ones. And here's a guy that bought 98,000, 100,000. These guys sold, actually. So these guys sold HEX, bought HEX. So let's take a look at this guy here. He bought HEX. And look, he did it twice. Same address. See it? Let's click his address. It's going to pop open an Etherscan window. We can copy his address, clicking that button there. And we can see that this gentleman, if we click ERC20 transactions, he's been interacting with HEX quite a bit. So let's analyze him. Let's see what he's doing. So we can see here, this is the address of the HEX.win, otherwise known as Uniswap exchange. And so if you send HEX to it, you can get other coins out. And if you send ETH to it, you can get HEX out. And so he sent ETH to it, and then he got HEX out. See? So it says he got HEX in from the contract. So he input some type of other coin, whether it's ETH or another ERC20, into the contract to get the HEX out, and he got 22 million HEX. And he's previously gotten 7 million HEX, 7 million HEX, or 7 million, around 8 million, around 8 million. So this guy's bought a lot of HEX. Now, let's, does it look like he might have sold HEX 2 days ago and then bought it now. So we can see whether he made money on that or not, right? Like we can actually see whether he sold the bottom and then had to buy higher, which happens to a lot of people, or what the deal was. So we'd have to look at the price two days and 16 hours ago versus 1 day and 17 hours ago. So let's do that. Let's get on the 15-minute chart, and let's measure back 2 days and 16 hours ago. Scroll out. 216. Okay. So this candle that I'm on here, if you look at the top of the screen up here, see these numbers here at the top? That's your open, high, low, close. So on this candle, it closed at 0.0019, and then he bought a day and 17 hours ago. Now you can get more specific, but this is close enough for what we're doing. So we'll just grab another measurement here. I'm really just using it for the time. I don't know why I killed my last one. All right. 2 hours, 2 days and 16 hours. 2 days and 16 hours. It's this candle. Stay there, buddy. Want a new one. Thanks. All right, and this one's going to go back 1 day and 17 hours. Now I have a feeling that someone could just make all this automated, and you could just see who was winning and who was losing, since it's all on chain. I don't know of such a system existing yet. So yeah, he sold here and then he had to buy there. So he didn't perform a good trade there. He sold lower and bought higher. That's not how you make money trading. So let's measure his performance there. Yeah, he paid 30% more. So he sold here and then bought 30% higher. So in HEX, you know, you can stake it till you make it. You don't have to try and trade. It's funny that we found a guy that just, you know, randomly didn't trade properly. It's funny. It's a good example. We're lucky we found this guy. So let's go now to, let's see if he has any stakes open, because he's done a lot with HEX, right? So let's take his address and go to HEX Info IO, and we can paste his address in here. I've got this computer set to UTC time because it matches the chart. I love to post UTC charts for everybody. It also matches the HEX date. This takes a while to load sometimes. We paste. Now look, when you paste, there can't be any space at the end or it errors. So you have to make sure that, you know, there's no space right at the end here. It just cuts off right where the address cuts off. And we can see that this guy has had some referrals. So he referred somebody that free claimed, and then he referred somebody that joined the adoption amplifier, and he also has a stake open. It looks like it ends just before the big payday. So we can zoom in on that by highlighting it like so. Yeah, he has a stake that ends just before the big payday. Interesting. For 124,000 HEX. So this guy's got 22 million HEX, as we can see here, and he's only got a stake for about 124K. So this seems like a trader to me, because, you know, he's getting in, he's getting out, and he doesn't have a lot staked. Very little of his stack is staked. So what a cool tool. This doesn't exist for any other cryptocurrency in the world. HEX has the best stats of any cryptocurrency in the world and the most speculative stickiness. This is addictive to look at, and there's literally there's no other coin in the world that's like HEX in this way, where you can do this type of analysis. So what other cool stuff can we do? Well, let's pull up another chart software. So there's something called charts.cointrader.pro, and they support HEX, and this chart's not as good. So the uniswap.hex.vision pulls directly from the blockchain itself. It doesn't go through a third-party API provider or anything like that. Whereas this goes through Coinfabrik, and Coinfabrik goes through Blocklytics, and sometimes Blocklytics has downtime, etc., etc. This just isn't as good a chart. But what this does have, which is very nice, is that you can compare other coins. So let's have a laugh. Let's compare Bitcoin USD. So let's type BTC USD. No, Bitcoin. Bitcoin dollar. Yeah, BTC USD. Look at that flat line right there. And then we can scroll the chart back so that it just has 2020 in it. So that just the beginning of 2020 is the first candle that it gets there. And then we can zoom in to make it a little bigger, so it fills the screen. And there's 2020. So this is Bitcoin's performance over 2020. It's up 8%, whereas HEX is up 3,500%. Let's add some more coins. What's some other big one? Ethereum itself. They want to be all in the USD pair. Okay, it's up 50% this year. Look at this chart, how funny it is. If you click log, it screws up the chart. So you need to leave it on percent when you're doing these comparisons. We can also compare, what are some other popular coins? Litecoin. They're just all going to show you this pitiful little line, because HEX has just outperformed everything so hard that all these other lines don't mean very much. HEX has overperformed so insanely well that charting versus other currencies is a joke, pretty much. But you can add it, it's kind of nice to have these here. You don't have that on this platform. So this is a better chart, faster, cleaner for HEX. Whereas, and then, maybe you would, maybe the HEX ETH pair is a nice place to chart because it's native and, you're charting just the performance of HEX instead of the performance of HEX and the performance of ETH, which is what the USDC chart is. So this is, I can't believe that it looks like this on log. This is crazy. I'm in love with this chart. So what have we learned here? We learned how to use TradingView at uniswap.hex.vision. We learned how to use Uniswap, pull up somebody's address. There's another tool which barely works. It's called pools.fyi. And you can click click HEX on here. Well, the problem with this, click trades. The problem with this system, oh, look, it has a trades table for once. Usually this is broken. It just doesn't even show up. So when this does work, it's neat because it can show you all the trades by their size. See? Oh, look, it disappeared for some reason. And then, I haven't seen this work in a long time, but when it does, you can click a trade, and then it'll show you, like, if that same guy has traded before, and you can see when he bought and when he sold, which is kind of like a little bit of an automated version of what I showed you earlier. So like, let's see who this big seller is. And then it doesn't work. It says no rows found. It used to work, though. It was kind of cool. But whatever. I guess the bubble chart's still kind of nice. So you could put in, let's try a little further back date. See how long it takes to load. Yeah, if you ever don't like how some software works, a lot of times it's free and open source, and you can improve it yourself, fork it, host it yourself. For instance, this uniswap.info, it's open source. You could host your own copy of it. If you don't like the way this works, you can improve it yourself. Yeah, this is like just sucks waiting for it, so I'm not gonna. All right, look, there's that big whale. I guess I did end up waiting for it. That big whale bought 10,000 ETH in a single market buy, and the price never even came back down to his price that he ended up buying at. So this center point is the average of his entry to the top of his entry, right? So this is the average price he paid, and the price never came even near where he entered. So once again, it seems like in this system, if you're a giant whale and you just buy up the price, it looks like there's a good chance it just may never come back down to your price again. Because I could show you that this has happened many times before back in the chart. It's crazy. It's like it's really amazing. I've never seen a chart look like this before. I'm in love with it. So we've got HEX ETH pair, HEX USDC. You know how to look up trades. You know how to analyze whether a guy's winning or losing in his trades. You know how to see whether he's got stakes open. Now, when I post someone else in here, I usually just refresh the page. It seems to work better than like just changing this. I don't know why. So like refresh and then change the input seems to work better. This is nice for doing comparisons and having a laugh at how pitiful everyone else is doing. And this makes a nice chart when it works, but the whole like clicking traders thing doesn't appear to work anymore, regrettably, because it was cool. Let's look at some more cool stuff. Let's take a look at hex.live. This site's pretty awesome. It gives you, similar to how uniswap.hex.vision works, this site pulls its data directly off the chain. It doesn't go through any third-party API providers. And so you get a faster feed and a more accurate feed. It's a little bit hard to see what the price is. I mean, if you're in an exchange and you're looking at 0.00 something for the USD price, it does make sense here, right? Like 0.0028, fine. But then because it says sats and it doesn't show all the leading zeros, it's harder to figure out what that means on your exchange. So you have to, guess how many leading zeros there are. In this case, there would be 6. zeros ahead of the 36 sats. And then, you know, GWE, I think there's 3 zeros in front of it. But let's take a look, right? Hex ETH, 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, it's 4 zeros. So this would be 4 zeros, 1, 4, 3, 1, 3. And then if we look here, it's 1, 4, 3, 5, 6. So 3, 1, 3, 3, 5, 6. It would make you wonder whether one of these is taking the last trade and then one of them might be taking the mid-market. There might be a little tiny bit of difference between the two. So we could compare that with HEX.win and see what it says. 1, 4, 3, 5, 7. 1, 4, 3, 1, 3. 1, 4, 3, 5, 6. Yeah. This, in my opinion, is close enough. So let's see what else we got here. Really cool feed. You can see the rank if everyone measured our market cap accurately. This market cap is about twice as high as what Coinfabrik shows because Coinfabrik doesn't count the origin address coins, but HEX.live does. And then there's $147 million worth of HEX locked for 4.58 years, weighted. So that means, you know, you're not looking at the median, like how much people stake on median, but how much, you know, you're counting larger stakes, the length that larger stakes stake for more. And then if a smaller guy stakes count less, right? Because that's how you should do it. Like a smaller guy can't affect the price as much. So, you know, counting the weight of the coins is more important than who individually staked them. Now you can see here some people, you know, this guy ended stake profitably. I like that it converts it to dollars. Makes it a little bit more easy to reason about what's going on. Somebody on here ended stake and just annihilated themselves. Paid a huge penalty. Where is this guy? Look at this guy. This guy had 1.5 million HEX staked for 317 days. He served a third of his time. He served 91 days. He emergency end staked, and he paid $156 in penalties. This isn't the guy that got annihilated. That seems like a reasonable, survivable amount there. Oh, this is the guy that got just destroyed. So this guy had staked 6 million HEX for 3,500 days, you know, almost 10 years. Emergency end staked. And his $17,000 of value got nuked by 15.5. Why? Why, you know, I mean, I guess everybody's in control of their own decisions and stuff, but there's a reason it's called emergency end staking. I mean, this guy had a $17,000 value stake and nuked it for 15,500. Now he had made 1,000 in interest, so this together would have been like 17. I'm not sure if you're supposed to add these or not, but it's either 17 or 18,000, and he lost 15,500. So I mean, this guy, if you stake for a really long time, yeah, you're going to get a lot of interest because you're getting all those bonus shares, up to 3x the shares on a 10-year stake. So you're making 3 times interest, but you know, if you emergency end stake, look, this guy just annihilated himself. What else is cool here? This is new. I've never even clicked it before. I like it. Look at this. Look, these guys have, you know, if you want to donate, you should. These guys work really hard and they produce amazing stuff, and they do it as volunteers. So, you know, use their referral links, donate them money. These, you know, these are super important guys, super important. I love this. We're up 50x versus the dollar, 48x versus Bitcoin, and 35x versus Ethereum. How beautiful is that? And then he's got other cool stats on here. So we've got our, you know, 20,800 people on Telegram, 17,000 on Twitter, Yeah, this is awesome. And it shows you when it refreshes. It's so well done. He also has, let's see what these other buttons do. He's created a system that shows you, where you rank compared to other people and how many other people are on that level. Just super cool. And then, it's amazing. He's got another thing where if you connect your wallet, it can show you your stakes, right? So you can connect, and then it can show you what percentage you're staking and other cool stats. So let's check out another really cool site. Let's go to hex.vision. Now notice this is uniswap.hex.vision, same guy. On this site, you can make your own queries. You can figure out and chart anything that you want to do. It's actually an analysis platform that has just about every piece of hex data input into it that then you can do logic on. So for instance, he's got an adoption amplifier dashboard, a staking dashboard, a hex penalties dashboard. So let's just look at this first page here. Here's total supply. Here's a circulating supply. Here's how many addresses there are. These are how many addresses hold hex. Here's how much Ethereum has gone into the adoption amplifier. You can see it's scaled up. Here's the people that have entered the adoption amplifier and minted the most hex out of it. So this guy's entered the AA amplifier 61 times, the adoption amplifier, AA system, and he's minted over 1 billion hex. So this guy has minted 1 billion hex out of AA on his own. And then you can see what kind of deal he got. So you see this guy used less ETH than this guy, but got a lot more hex. So he just got luckier on the timing. This guy's got 1.2% of all the hex minted out of AA. Very, very cool stats. And we can see that there's 10,000 addresses that have used AA. Here's, we got staking. We've got hex penalties paid to stakers. This is neat. So when those people emergency end stake, that pays the stakers. They've got a huge increase in their profitability just from these penalties that were paid to them. And we'll go look at the wall of shame to see who those guys were. What else? These are the top stakers. Amazing. And stake shares by expected end. So I guess this is a chart of when stakes are expiring. Neat. And these are our claims. So as the price has been going up, the claims have been going up, the free claims. And as free claims increase, that increases the big payday payout because we have virality and critical mass bonuses that multiply the big payday. So more free claims means a larger big payday to benefit the early guys the most, which is very cool. And this is just one screen, right? This is just the home screen. So let's go to hex penalties. And here we'll be able to see when people have emergency end stake due to FUD or who knows what reasons, right? So you can see we had a big emergency end stake spree here, a little spree here, and a little spree here. And you can see, so this guy has paid 100 million hex of penalties. Oops. This guy paid 58 million in penalties. This guy paid 14 million penalties. So this is the wall of shame. And really this is, also the wall of people that have paid the other stakers the most, that, staked as they said they would instead of emergency end staking. Now, he has got so many other things built into the system that I have never even looked at half of them. That's how many there are. So let's go back to the beginning and click, let's click, there's a way to pull up all the dashboards. I think it's this maybe? Yeah. And we'll put it on 50 rows. Nope, this wasn't it. There's some way to see all of the screens that he built. Oh, and more. There we go. I bet it's that. Okay, look at this. Each one of these is a different screen that you can use to analyze the hex system. Look at all these. 50 per page, 2 pages. Amazing. Totally amazing. Yeah. All right. Let's try another one. Let's go to hex-data.com. And you'll see here. I guess my proxy's going slow. You'll see here that we've got 204,000 Bitcoin that's claimed, 270,000 ETH transformed into hex, average stake weighted 1,538 days. It's 4 years. 400 M market cap on circulating. I think he's using the same calculation that AxLive is using. Yeah. And then ETH transforms, ETH transform, ETH accumulation, free claims going up, unique addresses going up, new addresses going up, stake expiration chart. Nice. That way you can tell when people are ending their stakes. Very useful. Leaderboard of people that have transformed ETH. We saw that in hex.vision as well. Here's something unique. The refers, you can see who so the top refer is no refer. These guys didn't use any refers. This guy is the second biggest refer. Very, very cool. Very, very cool stuff. So we've done hex uniswap.info, uniswap.hex.vision, etherscan.io, hexinfo.io, charts.cointrader.pro, pools.fyi, hex.live, hexdex.win. You don't want to leave that open. It uses bandwidth. And hex-data.com.